So you want to know your body type, you're at the right place, because today we are going to discuss KIBBE Body Types 101. This will be a beginner guide and I will be giving you all the clothing lines recommendations based on your body type. In 1980s, there was a man called David Kibbe, and he introduced a system in his book Metamorphosis, which states how to embrace your unique features and proportions of your body instead of fighting them. Instead of fighting, you embrace your body so that you can accentuate your unique features. This system is entirely based on your body type instead of body shape, which we see is not about the shape of your body, but the shape of your bones and how your flesh lies on your bones. In this video, I will be using KIBBE verified celebrities as examples. Your KIBBE body type does not change with age or weight, which means even if you are underweight or overweight, your KIBBE never changes. I will also be using the celebrities which are not verified by KIBBE yet, but which I think fall into the categories just for the sake of this video, so that I can give you a better understanding of the types and their examples. So let's start.
I wanna want you. I need you.
So KIBBE has based this system on the theory of yin and yang balance. Yin here means more rounded, more soft, more lush, and yang means more sharp, more dramatic, more edgy, and those are two polar opposites. For the yin, we have the most yin body type, which is the romantics, and for the yang, we have the dramatics. Most yin, we have Marilyn Monroe, for example. She is the most yin, most rounded, most soft body type, and for the dramatics, we can say, for example, Taylor Swift. She is very yang, she is very dramatic. Yin is the most feminine body, and yang is like a masculine musculature. So this balance is in opposition with each other: round versus sharp, soft versus hard, light versus dark. The key to knowing your KIBBE body type is knowing your dominant feature, as I found mine. So what is your dominant feature? When someone looks at you, or when you look at yourself in the mirror, what do you see first? Do you see a vertical line, or do you see you are petite, or do you see that you have width? Which one is the most prominent to you? We are going from dramatics and we will go all the way to the romantics. The dominant feature of the dramatic body type is vertical, which means they have a vertical line which can be seen even if they are overweight or like underweight, even if their height is not that much in numbers. But when you look at them, what do you see first? Do you see a vertical line? If you have dramatic body type, you will look very long, narrow. Long and narrow is the keyword here. You will appear very straight, very thin looking. You have that sharpness, that yangness in your body, and you have a really long vertical line. Remember, there are no lower limits in KIBBE body type, which means that there are upper limits but there are no lower limits in KIBBE body type. Particularly for dramatic body type, there is no height limit, so you can be 5 foot 5 inch and be a dramatic, or you can be 7 foot and be a dramatic. Dramatics have narrow shoulders, long limbs. You appear taller than you normally are. Dramatics have a very straight figure or sometimes a pear-shaped figure. And again, reminding you, this does not changes with your weight. So KIBBE remains same if you are underweight or overweight. If you have a long vertical and you look narrow and you appear very tall, then chances are that you are a dramatic body type. Even though dramatics have long limbs and large bone structure, but they do not have the width. Unlike naturals, dramatics don't have the width, which means when they gain weight, that collects into their hips. Even though being taller and more sharper, dramatics don't look as athletic as naturals are. They don't appear very muscular. So according to KIBBE, the idea here is to honor your yin and yang balance, which means you have to dress for your body type, which means that if you are dramatic body type, you have to dress dramatically, which means you have to dress sharp, long silhouettes. You have to dress vertical. Dramatics look their best in straight, sharp, tailored, sleek, and very vertical looking, very edgy, very sharp, kind of long lines, clean geometric lines, sleek and large clothing. They look great in low contrast and unbroken lines. Like, their vertical should be honored, which means they should not be breaking their vertical while dressing. Because remember, you are not trying to fight it, you are trying to embrace your body. If dressing casual will be really easy for you, as you will be looking very relaxed and chill in straight, sharp and oversized silhouettes. Next up is soft dramatics. So soft dramatics are dramatics, but they come with the curve. They have this narrow vertical line, but they also have the curve in their hips and their breasts, which means that they look taller but also appear curvier. Think Adele. They also appear taller than their usual height, which means that their head looks smaller in comparison with their overall or like rest of the body. There is again no height limit. Soft dramatics can be 5 foot 5 or 6 foot 5. Everything goes for the dramatic, goes for them, but with a little bit of softness and a little bit of roundness, as soft dramatics have this yin undercurrent to their body, but overall they have that yang overcurrent. They also look best in long vertical lines. Unlike Dramatics, they need to accommodate few roundness and softness in their clothing. They need to accommodate their curve, which means curve emphasis is important. Can use any yin details, but they have to remember that it can be large so that it accommodates their yang overcurrent as well. Soft dramatics look really great in long and lush glamorous details. Soft dramatics should also focus on waist emphasis, but not as much as romantics. There should not be a broken line in their silhouette, so there should be a long vertical, and for waist emphasis they can either add a belt or have the fabric in a way that it accentuates their waist but does not cut their body in half. Now Kibbe has removed the pure types from all the body types, and only there are two pure types, which is dramatic, like pure dramatic, and then the pure romantic type. But rest of the types are not pure. They are either slightly sharp or slightly rounded, which makes sense because you cannot be neither. You can either be more rounded or like more sharp. Next is naturals. So the most dominant trait of naturals is their width. So they have this width in their upper shoulders and their back, and it comes down like this. Their body has width in upper part of their torso. Sometimes it comes to the rib cage, but most probably they have this inverted triangle kind of body type, which makes their body look so athletic and so muscular. So firstly we have flamboyant natural, which means that they have this dramatic undercurrent to them, but they have width as their dominant trait, and then they have vertical as their secondary trait. So they are still in the yang category, which means they look sharp, but they appear less sharper than a dramatic. They appear more blunt, and they have that width in their shoulders and then the vertical in their overall silhouette. They also have a long vertical line. They also have long limbs. They also appear taller than they are. They have a really straight figure, which oftentimes looks very athletic. Flamboyant naturals look best in the clothes which honor their width. Unconstructed, flowy, draped, geometric and loose clothings look really nice on naturals. Now coming to soft naturals. So soft naturals also have the width in their body as the dominant trait, but unlike flamboyant naturals, which have vertical as their secondary trait, the soft naturals have curve as their secondary trait along with width being their dominant trait. So they have to accommodate their weight and then their curve. So they have this yin undercurrent over the yang body. They do not have as vertical line as a flamboyant natural. They have a moderate vertical line. They have moderate limbs, curve in their chest and hips. They are also bone dominant with yin undercurrent, but the height limit for soft naturals are 5'6". Soft naturals have the curve, but they do not have the double curve. The clothing lines which are recommended for flamboyant naturals, same goes for the soft naturals. They also look their best in loose and relaxed, unconstructed clothing lines. Fabric does not need to cling to their body, but they need to accommodate a little bit of curve as they are curvy in their chest and hips. Next up is classic. Classics are not very sharp, not very rounded, so they are kind of in the middle, and the dominant trait for classic body type is the balance. Like they have the perfect symmetrical body. They have this balance between their upper and lower body, and they do not appear taller or smaller than they actually are. They appear somewhat in the middle. Slightly is the keyword for classics. So they look slightly taller, which goes for the dramatic classics, and when they look slightly softer or like smaller, rounder, they go in the category of soft classics. Dramatic classics look balanced, so their dominant feature is looking very balanced, and their secondary feature is a vertical line, which means they appear a little bit more yangish, and their undercurrent is dramatic, but overall they look balanced in their appearance. They have slight flash, they have a straight torso, they have slightly long limbs. 5'7" is the height limit for dramatic classics. Dramatic classics look best in simple, minimal details, clean lines, symmetry, slight sharpness with moderate length, a little bit of dropped waist, slightly straighter and sharper lines, with some added structure to their body, which means that they need to accommodate structure, need to accommodate the balance, so they need to look for the geometric pieces and tailored pieces. Soft classics also have this balance as their dominant trait, but they are slightly rounded, so they need to accommodate slightly like yin features, like yin details. They have slightly rounded shoulders, slightly soft flat. They also have moderate limbs, but they appear a little bit softer than a normal classic. They have a little bit of slope in their shoulders. 5'6" is the height limit for soft classics. Think of everything mid again. Everything will be in the middle, like mid hemlines, mid size, mid silhouettes, mid verticals. Everything will be mid, but they will be slightly more rounded and have that yin undercurrent. Everything will be minimal, soft, everything with a slight detail in it, everything with balanced geometric minimal details, but with a little bit of yin in it, which means a little bit of florals, a little bit of ruffles. The prints will be slightly smallish and rounder. They do not need to go all in for the yin, but they need to accommodate a little bit of, so they can keep a little bit of sharpness as for their classic body, which is their dominant trait. They also need to accommodate the waist emphasis so that they can honor their curves. Next up is Gamine. Dominant trait of Gamine is contrast, so which means they have everything little bit here, little bit there. You are not able to figure out if they are yin or yang. Everything is a little bit of mix and match. Mix and match is also for the classics, but in the classics case you have that in proportion, in balance. You have 50% yang, 50% yin. But in Gamines you are not able to identify if it is 50%, 60%, like what is going on here. The dominant trait of a Gamine will be petite plus vertical. So vertical is a dominant trait of a dramatic, but the Gamine will have the vertical. Now the dramatics have vertical, but they are narrow. But the Gamine also has the vertical and narrow, but they do not appear taller, nor they are, which means they appear petite, they appear shorter, and they have this vertical narrowness too. Dramatics are taller in height, but they are also narrower. But Gamines are shorter in height, and they are also narrower. And if you're confused between Gamines and dramatics, just look at the size of the head in comparison with their overall body. Gamines will have a slightly bigger head in comparison with their overall body, and dramatics vice versa. Gamines have this angular shoulder kind of thing going on, tend to appear sometimes wider in the shoulder, but they have this petiteness, this element of shortness going on, even though having a vertical line in their body. So the main thing at play here is this contrast thing going on, which means that being a narrower body type, they are not taller, they do not appear taller looking. Being vertical, they are smaller, which means they are petite. We have flamboyant Gamines and then the soft Gamines. Flamboyant Gamines are more sharper and soft Gamines are more softer, as in the name. Flamboyant Gamines have angular shoulders, short and narrow limbs, short vertical line. They have boyish, straight boyish figure, and the height limit for flamboyant Gamine is 5'5", and have more bony, like bone-like structure in their hips, whereas soft Gamines have more flesh in their chest and hips. Soft Gamines flesh looks soft, unlike flamboyant Gamines, which like very tall. Also, the height limit for soft Gamines is same as flamboyant Gamines, which will be 5'5", and this is the height limit for both of them. Clothing recommendations for flamboyant Gamines. So they look their best in geometric prints. They look best in contrasted, sharp and short lines. They look their best in patterns, fitted lines, box type silhouettes, or like boxy t-shirts. The same applies to the soft Gamines, but the patterns and the fabric should be a lot more softer. The geometric prints can be a little bit on the softer end. Let's talk about romantics. So the dominant feature of a romantic is double curve and then petite. So they have this double curve going on, which looks like almost a boneless curve. They do not have a bone which is prominent. Their bones are not very prominent looking, and then they have this petite element, which means they look smaller than they actually are. Romantics are the most yin, which means they are the most softer, most roundest of all the body types, and they look completely opposite of a dramatic. And the height limit for romantics are 5'5". Is theatrical romantics, which is same as flamboyant, and theatrical romantics have this added drama to their bone structure. They look a little bit more on the dramatic side. They have this yang undercurrent going on, and theatrical romantics have a little bit of sharpness in their shoulders. Think of Selena Gomez. Romantics have short vertical line, short and narrow limbs. They have very prominent soft flesh, small hands and feet. Often they look wide. They have very small fingers, small, like the petiteness comes naturally. And also this sometimes gets confused with soft naturals, because romantics also have this weight in their upper body around their shoulders. Pure romantics. So pure romantics are really rounded. They have this round, almost invisible bone structure. They have this round flesh covering their body, and they have really sloped shoulders. They have so much curve in their chest and hips, which is boneless curve. Everything about their body is very soft, very rounded looking. Romantics look best in waist emphasis. Waist emphasis is the most important thing for a romantic. You have to have waist emphasis. Everything about romantics is very soft, very rounded, no matter their weight. Even if a romantic is underweight, they will still look rounded. And romantics have the hourglass figure. Waist emphasis is a must for a romantic. They look their best in lightweight, soft fabrics, yin details, florals, sheen, sparkly fabrics, bows, short lines, rounded prints and rounded patterns. The typical feminine shapes look really beautiful on romantics. It's like they're made for that the glamorous feminine details look really good on romantics. The same applies to the theatrical romantics, but they need a little bit of sharpness to honor their yang undercurrent. Let me know your body type in the comments, and I will definitely make a detailed video on each of the body types and subtypes, and I will explain the clothing lines and recommendations for each of the body types. If you want to see more videos like this, let me know in the comments. I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.
I want you. I need you. Put the TV on, the flowers in a vase, lay your head